Right, hello everyone. Welcome to Friday night PRF1. We're, as you can see, at Hungaroring, Hungary. I'm just going to get myself onto the stream a second on my phone so that I can share it about in Discord. Right. Um, where is it? Ah, there. Right. There we go. I've done it. Had a bit of trouble finding the last one. Oh, it's raining. Oh dear. That throws everybody out the window, doesn't it? That's a kick in the teeth for a lot of drivers who's only done the dry practice. Question is, of course, is it raining for the race as well, or just the quali? Just did a quick sound check as well. You can all hear me. That's good news. Right then. That's right. They got a sword out seat. Right, so there's an Alfa Romeo coming out. It's not Big D, so it must be Dawdy. So, just looking up and down at the names, I think we're familiar with everyone. Yeah, a couple of drivers only done the one race with us so far, but everybody that's all of the 19 that are on track tonight have all raced previously in PRF1. So that's good news. No new guys tonight. We always like new guys, of course, but these guys are all here because they're good drivers. So as you can see on the Alfa Romeo of Dawdy, it's a was right. So Ryan has to join. I wasn't aware that he disappeared, but it's back in a way, so that's good news. As you can see on Dawdy's car, in a way, it's the blue-rimmed full wet tyres, so which doesn't surprise me because you can visibly see the puddles on the track, so that would suggest that it's definitely full wet weather. So, whether it's just for a Q1 or whether it's the whole of qualifying, it's going to be an interesting qualifying session in a way. Dawdy makes his way into the final corner now, so we're going to get our first look at a competitive lap from Dawdy Karkaden. It's turn one. You're going to see I think to start with, we're going to have to be very, very tentative around a track like this. I'd imagine. It's normally high wings in a way here at Hungary, so I'd imagine it's pretty much maxed out on the wings for wet weather. Whether, as I say, whether the race is going to be wet or not, I don't know, so it may mean that they're running around. If it's a dry race, they may well be running around in wet conditions with a dry setup, so just make it qualifying even more difficult. But just take each session as it comes, I guess, and your target in this session is to be in the top 15 drivers to make it through to Q2. Don't need to be any higher than that. As long as you're in the top 15, you're fine. Should I set to 2 yellow? And I just looked down at the track. I couldn't see anything obvious there. It might have been an Alpha Tauri, but I'm not. It disappears straight away, so I don't think it was anything major. Doherty then heading round to the last parts of the track. Sort of double hairpin, really. You've got 2 hairpins in a row. The final corner doesn't really feel like a hairpin as such, but it is exactly that. If you look at your track map, you can see that quite clearly, that it is a hairpin. It's just quite a wide, long one. So, Doherty Cat 136.6 gets us started then. There's a Haas heading for the line. That was Davis on a 34.395. Any of these drivers that are getting close to the line? Taz here. Drivers crossing line. Atkins 35.1. Aaron 32.9. Of course, the one I chose went into the pits. That's typical. Big D and the Alfa Romeo just coming out the final corner now. And he goes P2 on 33.414. Who was that? That's Operator 35.0. Robbo coming through the penultimate corner now. Yellow flag, nothing to worry about. That was a car getting out of another way. And that one isn't, though. That's an AlphaTauri by the looks of it. He's had a bit of a spin. Robbo heads to the line in a way, and it's a 36.5 that puts him P9 at the moment. That AlphaTauri was frozen. He was on a lap, but obviously that's really good now. So, go to Aston Martin. Usually, I get drivers maybe having a little chat to me in the, when they're in the garages, but with these weather conditions, they tend to be out on track pretty much the whole session because the track's forever evolving. And I don't know about everybody else, but I tend to like to use the wet compounds a little bit before putting a hot. I tend to kind of do my best lap about 4, 5, 6 laps in, rather than. As Big D now goes fastest, 32.592. Fatal heads into the final corner. And out he comes. And he heads for a 35.5. That puts him into P9 at the moment. Let's go straight to Gunbugs. He's heading for the line. 34.7 puts him into P7. What else we got? Where's... so this is frozen, so if you remember he had a little spin on the last lap, but this is a fresh lap now. Just ride on board a little bit. Yeah, I got a feeling we're heading for a dry race, because the way the cars are handling, it's really bad rain, mind. It's really heavy. The Alfa Romeo gets out the way, actually goes off track to get out of the way, which is a bit extreme. And so I just want to go on board to sort of show you what the conditions are like and how different the car handles. Obviously in the dry you're throwing the cars around the circuit really. Frozen actually is a 34.9, that's not too bad. It goes into P8. Let's go to Bajala. He's heading for the line. 36.1 puts in P14. A few drivers then, still not the times on the board. Don't Mark, Master Spread, Taz, Ryan, all yet to put times on the board. So, just go a bit further up. No, good lead down. That was a... what car is that behind him? It's a McLaren. McLaren looked like it was going... well, there's only one McLaren tonight. Spreader on his own tonight, by the looks of it, in the Paya. Thanks, operator. So the weather says it's wet for all qualifying, but it's a dry race. So, yeah, it's exactly what I said. You never set up for quality. You got to set up for the race. As we have a retirement. Dodi Kaka is out. He's crashed round coming out of turn 3, I believe it is, or turn 4 actually. His car's already disappeared. So one big bit of news. I'm reliably informed. I use the word reliably quite loosely, but I am reliably informed by Greza, the boss man in PRF1, that Spreader can potentially win the championship tonight. He needs to just score 6 points, in fact, to take the Drivers' Championship. So, obviously, spotlight will be on him a little bit. And, I hope some of the drivers, like Operator, Dodi, Shrek, yeah, Robbo, Atkins, I hope you guys have enjoyed it since coming into the league, and the newer guys as well, Tads as well, and hopefully you guys will stay with us for next season. So it looks like there's a Red Bull in a bit of trouble. So it's better coming to the final corner then. Usually quite likes the wet conditions, so I don't think he's going to be having any problems in these conditions. Well, there you go, 32.565 puts him fast. It's not much quicker than Big D, just a nearly 300ths of a second, not quite that much, but still fastest at the moment. Dre way down, he must have been the Red Bull at a moment then. So Clem heads into the final corner. I see him on track this week. Warm Clem. And comes out the final corner. What's he looking at here? Looks pretty good. 33.019 puts him into P4. I think guys in that sort of time are probably looking like they're safe now. Let's just go down to Shrek, where no, he's invalidated, unfortunately. Atkins, not long started a lap. So on his way up to the end of Sector 1. It looks like the two Astons are... Is that an Aston as well behind him? Yeah, it is, isn't it? That's his teammate. Driving around together at the moment. That's Atkins and Fatal Defiance. These conditions at the moment don't look like they're drying up at all. So the operator told us that it's scheduled as wet for the whole of qualifying, and it looks like that too as Big D improves his time and goes fastest again. Says whatever you could do, Spreader, I could do better. And to be honest, looking at the rain, looks too heavy, doesn't it, for the conditions to get any better. So Atkins doesn't improve. Dark Mark's just heading around the final corner now, looking to get his first time in a session on the board. And he goes into P6 on a 33.0. Meanwhile, Ryan actually in the Ferrari's gone up to P4, 32.9. So I would say, again, I think that's probably safe. Davis on night lap. Goomba also on an outlap. And operator not improving last lap. Now Atkins is... Okay, so we watched him on the last lap when he didn't improve, but he's 4 attempts up here. Dory, full wets, lost it, couldn't do anything to recover. Yeah, just complete passenger sliding into the barrier. It's yeah, just aquaplane I expect into the barrier, and yeah, there's nothing you could do. Even if you hit the brakes, nothing happens. You just watch the inevitable coming towards you, unfortunately. And well, Fatal Defiance seems to have caught the back of Atkins here. Atkins was on improvement, but I'm guessing he's lost that. His Fatal... Yeah, so Fatal goes up to P12. That puts Atkins into 16th, which means he's in trouble. Fatal on 34.849 there. But remember, Atkins was over 4 attempts up in the first sector, so he's clearly got the time. Pajala, who likes to deceive us a little bit, is going around to start his lap, so let's go on board with Pajala actually. I'll try and do a hilly hop up in these conditions, so you head down to turn 1. Obviously no DRS in these conditions, down to second gear. As tight to the inside you can, probably better off not to use the curbs. Open up steering and therefore get on the power to head down to turn 3. Again, very much the same. Stay as close to the inside as you can, but don't touch the curbs. You will run over the curb in turn 4. It's just the nature of the turn, just be careful. And head up to turns 5, followed by 6. As Clem retires, I think he's done that in the pit, so we lost anyone. Turn 6, a long right-hander. You must avoid the inside curve at turn 6 at all costs in any conditions. It will just spin you automatically through the chicane nicely. Don't touch the sausage curves, basically. 9 and 10, pretty basic corners really. As we head into this left-hander, which you keep really tight to the left-hand side to open up the entrance into what is usually a very fast right-hander, but as you can see from Jala there, in these conditions it's just not the same. And we head up to final couple of corners, as said earlier on in qualifying, they're both hairpins. Just long corners, it just take a while. So you've got to choose the right time, ideally have a little point where you know when to accelerate, and Pajala goes 1.5 seconds quicker than he's been before and moves himself up into P13. Atkins had improved, by the way, just ahead of Fatal Defiance, who now finds himself back down to 15th. Shrek is improving, and he's coming out the final corner. Jump up here, yep, to P10. Which is Fatal Defiance out, who is now in the position of, if he gets through, it's his teammate who he'd knock out. So I'm going to be quiet there. I didn't want to talk too much when Fatal was driving there because I know he listens to the commentary sometimes. I didn't want to put him off. Good news for Fatal is that Atkins, his teammate, has jumped up to P12. Not so good news for Fatal. That wasn't enough to get him through. He's in P17. It's operator. There we go as well. Oh, gets a bit of oversteer out the final corner. And that's going to lose him any chance of improvement, unfortunately. You can see though, actually, with the drivers that we've driven on board with, you can really see they're clearly using dry setups, and we are expecting a dry race, so it's no real surprise they're doing that. But you can really see that they're really struggling to make the apex of the corners. Look at that, way out wide from Taz. To the line, it looks like he might improve. He does improve 3.5 temps, so that puts him safe. Actually puts his teammate potentially in trouble. Although, yeah, I was going to say, we saw Face of Defiance cross the line on his last lap, and it didn't look to me like he attacked turn 1. So, yeah, he's not going for another lap, unfortunately. So, the two Mercs will get through by the skin of their teeth in 14th and 15th. And unfortunately we lose Robbo, Face of Defiance, Operator, and unfortunately Dodi Kakao, who crashed earlier on. So, well, I guess the question will be is, I know we're expecting rain for the whole of qualifying, but will it remain as full wet conditions throughout the whole of qualifying? Or will it dry up a bit? I hadn't realised actually, so my apologies Ryan that I didn't mention it, but Ryan actually went fastest in that session at one point there, 31.8, Spreader in P2, Big DP3 all very close at the top there at the moment. And there's the confirmations of the drivers that I've already mentioned. They're eliminated from Q1. Quickly go to Race Director for any incidents. You expect a bit more of the old invalidated and all that sort of thing in these conditions, so not surprised there's quite a few there. And who used what then? Frozen used 2 sets of wets. Goomba 2 sets. Taz 2 sets. Everybody else just a 1 set. So we're heading to Q2. Let's have a look, see if it's the same conditions or not. But oh my goodness. I don't know if it's actually possible, but it actually looks like it's raining harder than it was a minute ago. It's absolutely tipping down. In this day and age, in real life, they'd probably cancel all this for those conditions, I expect. Oh dear, I never practiced wet racing, so new for these conditions. Just happy the race is dry. Yeah, definitely. And, well, you've got to practice them, mate. So, as you can see, Taz out first. And I'll just confirm that they are definitely still using full wets, but that was pretty obvious by the rain that we saw in the pit lane. So, I mean, to me, this rain actually does look harder than it was in Q1. We'll tell by the lap times if that's the case or not. Even the track, actually, it looks like there's more puddles on the track than it did in Q1 as well. So, could be that the track's gotten worse. Although, of course, with it being a computer game, you'll never be quite sure. I must admit, Dawdy, I don't spend very much time practicing wet conditions, but I think there's just some tracks that you know full well the game loves to give you a wet race at, and actually the one I found to be this game's favourite one for making it wet at is Spain this year. That's the one I've noticed. Seems to be wet a lot. Taz, in a way, comes across the line, starts first flying lap. There's a Red Bull that's come out the pitch just ahead of him. So hopefully, anyway, let's go on board for it. Oh dear! Taz spins round, gives the a bit of a clatter. Don't know. His end plate's still on the car, so he might be alright. Just do another out lap effectively. Right, there's an Alpha Tauri behind him, so let's go to Frozen. So if you're on board, you get better view, don't you? These volley laps. So just thinking ahead with the times for this session, you're going to probably see pretty competitive this session, I think. I think it'll be really tight between the drivers getting through and the ones that don't. Top 10. You might actually find that they're a bit quicker. Even if the conditions have gotten a bit worse, they might still be a bit quicker. Just because they're getting used to driving in the wet conditions. It can take a little bit of time to adjust. I know there was a practice session open before, and I doubt very much there was any rain in that. There might have been a little bit at the start, but across the line in a way comes Frozen, 32.8 to get us started. Oh, who was that? It's a Williams. It's 32.9. Very competitive. Atkins 34.4. Oh no, sorry, Atkins 41.9. 34.4 was Big D. Kamarov goes fastest on a 32.3. Shrek 33.6. Everybody else. Oh, they're into the pits. That's Taz. Let's go to Aaron, who's just coming through the penultimate corner. And head to the line, 133.2. It's in P4 at the moment. It's going down. That mark's invalidated. Jala is into the penultimate corner as well. Not allowed to put the power down at all while he's in the corner, is he? Just too wet. And he's out. It's a really highly technical track, the Hungaroring, so you throw heavy rain around here, it just gets even harder, doesn't it? Basically, it's hard enough in the dry. It's one of those tracks, really hard in the dry, silly hard in the wet. Say, these conditions in real life these days, I don't think they'd even be allowed to drive it. Red flag the race in these conditions. 33.9 from Atkins puts her into P9. What else have I got for you? Let's dip spreader. He's right at the end of sector 2. Potential champion. Could be crowned tonight. Oh, Clem has retired. And that's not in the pits. Big D as well. And they're in the same part of the track. I don't know if that's been an incident between the two of them, or whether that's just coincidental, but that's coming out of turn 4. They both crashed in the same place. They spread across the line to a 31.9 and goes fastest. Apologies that I couldn't get down to that instant, but they have both crashed in the same place, and both will not take part in Q3, even if their times are good enough to get through. Right, marking to the pits, and Ryan, then the only other one that could set their first time of the session. Oh, really struggling on the traction, getting the power down. But he looks quick though, doesn't he, Ryan? The way he drives the car makes it look quick. in these conditions. Really happy to throw it around a bit. So he was fastest in Q1. We'll see if he goes fastest again here. Looks pretty good at the time. He comes out the final corner, and not fastest, but goes P2. It's 400ths away from Spreader on that lap. Aaron moving over to let someone else through. Spot a time that is up on a PB. Can't see any at the moment. Spreader very close, but he's gone into the pits. Camera off. Cammy's up through sets of 1. Oh, good night, Dad. Not related, just a nightmare, says Big D. So it wasn't a. It was just a coincidence that two cars had crashed in the same part of the track. Kind of fortunate. Always a possibility in these conditions, as we know, but unlucky guys. But nice dry race to look forward to. I'm sure you'll do well, both of you. So Cammy enters in and then comes out of the final corner. So following that racing line that's appeared perfectly. And he goes P3 on a 32.209. Let's just nip down to Davis. We've not seen too much of Davis since the very start of qualifying, so a couple of attempts up at the minute. Two sets of 1. Still 1/10 up at the end of sets of 2, so lost a bit of time in sets of 2. Just wondering, you got this race line really appearing, and that's usually a sign that things are starting to dry up, but there's still a lot of puddles on track, so I don't think, to be quite honest with you, it still looks like it's absolutely tipping down, so I can't begin to a quarter of a second improvement from Davis. Stays P8, but consolidates that time a bit. Can't believe for a second it's drying up, but when it's raining this hard, but say that line definitely looks like it's appearing. What I can do is I'll bring the tyres up on the details. Well, Jala's in the pits and he's put the intermediates on ready, and he thinks it may well get there, so he's sat poised with them. Which I always think's a little bit lazy, because he could be out on track drying it up like everybody else. Shrek then, well, apologies, I didn't realise that Shrek is actually on an out lap, even though it doesn't say that on the left hand side of the screen. Across the line he comes. We may as well stick with him then and watch his hot lap. Currently set in P11, so just heading out at the moment. Now, the times can be a bit confusing as Ryan goes fastest, 31.202. That's a pretty substantial improvement. So maybe it is starting to dry up a bit. So it seems crazy that it could potentially be drying up. It's absolutely hammering down. I forgot what I was going to say now. Yeah, the times can be a little bit confusing. Oh! And that... Yeah, we don't want to... Yeah, someone's going to have to tell Ryan he's not allowed to do that. I'm pretty sure Ryan's just retired on track in qualifying. That's where you need to read rules, Ryan, but you're not allowed to do that. You're going to be in trouble for that, I think, buddy. It's also extremely confusing for the commentator, because I totally thought you crashed out after going fastest then. Didn't. There's a car crash. No, actually, the car hadn't crashed, it's just moved over and let Gumba through, and the other Ferrari is... Sorry, I'd moved off the driver that we were watching at the time, because I was going to move down to it. Tracking away 33.6. Gumba's come back off of the intermediate tyre, so onto the wets and is out there. Sorry, not Gumba, Pajala. He's back onto wet tyres, full wets, and is headed out on track. So, if anybody's wondering, the reason why I say they, although I didn't see it, the reason why I know that was a retirement on track from Ryan was because if he'd have retired by crashing, he'd have gone down to P8. He currently, even though he's got the fastest time, he would be sat in P8 because he wouldn't be allowed to take any part in Q3. P8 would be the highest at the moment he'd be able to be to qualify. Because he stayed up in P1, that means he's actually retired on track. As I say, could well be in trouble for that. So it's not going to affect anything today, but he could find himself in trouble for qualifying for the next race. Dre on night lap. Jala. Jala then not improving, he's the second down, so off him. Well, Davis has just started his lap. It's, it being just 40 seconds to go, he's definitely on his final attempt here, so as you can see, just over 2 attempts up at the end of sector 1. So, actually, Clem's time is the one to beat at the moment, so 32.927, and he's already very close to that with his improvement in sector 1, so stick with him. Few drivers finishing now. Frozen's one of the ones that's finished that is in a bit of trouble here, and Davis is heavily improving now. 9 attempts up through sector 2. This will move him up to around about 5th or 6th, I think. 6th, I think. Depends on the improvement if he makes one in the final sector. So heads to the line. It all looked good. I don't think he's going to lost any time there. Improves by 2nd and goes P5 just ahead of Aaron. And that's... well, that knocks Clem down to 11, who had retired in a way. Taz is really struggling, so he's going to be leaving us at the end of this session. Atkins very close to his PD through sector 1. That's the end of sector 2 now. Ever so slightly up, half a tenth. We're moving up position. Well, he's actually very, very close. If he finds a 10th. Oh, just gets out of shape at the penultimate corner. I was going to say, if he finds... Oh, and he's going to spin. Rear end just completely switched round on him. And he's going to reverse over the line. Unfortunate that for Atkins. He needed a 10th in the final sector. If he'd have found a 10th, he'd have been through. That is it. Then I'll confirm who's through and who's out. Davis improvement, a substantial one at the end there. Good and through. Left it very late to do it though. Right, so Ryan fastest in the session, but as I said, maybe in a bit of trouble for next week for retiring on track. Spreader P2, Streck 3, Cameron 4, Davis 5, Aaron through, Dartmark through, Dre through, Frozen through. So it's going to be 9 drivers in the pole position shootout, all covered by 1.6 seconds. But the well, if you take out Ryan's time, they're very, very tight and close. Lose, unfortunately, Big D, Clem, Atkins, Pajala, Taz, and Goomba. Just quickly nip onto the instance. That is all the instance in on that page. And we head into Q3 then for the pole position shootout. So, you see, still absolutely hammering down. I don't think we're going to see any intermediates. Certainly not dries, and I don't think we're going to see any intermediates before the end of qualifying. Just make himself a coffee. And we'll head back over. So, drivers coming out. So, different in dry conditions. Obviously, you normally see each driver do 2 runs in Q3. You might get the odd one that only does the ones, keep an extra set of tyres for the race, but ultimately that's what you see. In these conditions, a bit different. You might see people actually fuel for the whole session. People have their preferences on what they do, so some may like to stay out for the whole session. I think Spreader's just been kicked from the lobby, so let's get him back in quickly. I hope that don't cause us any trouble, because that's he was the host, so sometimes that can cause issues. Hopefully it doesn't. Yeah, so as I was saying, you might get some that like to fuel for the whole session, stay out. Others will come out, maybe do a couple of laps, and then sort of come back in for a fresh set, ready to go again. The degradation, really, the difference in time is so small on wet tyres that people don't really worry too much about coming in for a fresh set, but yeah, so unless you worked up sort of a couple of temps difference, then there's really no reason to pit for a fresh set, and that's extremely unlikely, to be honest. So anyway, Shrek first out on track, and he is starting his hot lap. Quiet in the chat tonight. I do love that camera angle as they come through the chicane. If you catch that nicely in the race, you can see 1 or 2, well, 2 or 3 cars come through all in one go, and it's or one after the other. I mean, not all in one go. For goodness' sake, please don't have 3 cars trying to go all in one go through the chicane. Be instant death for someone, unfortunately. Shrek then. So, Shrek across line 32.0, 31.4 from Dark Mark. The times look like they've come down since Q2. Cammy 32, so 32.2 for Cammy. Means he's P4. Aaron's managed 31.7. And we've got the Haas of Davis just coming in out the final corner now. Again, he's in the 32s, 32.8. So, Dre, no, he's had an incident or something somewhere. Let's go down to Ryan then, who's been fastest in both sessions previous to this. Comes out the final corner then, certainly not going fastest on this one, 36.2. It's getting some running in. Spreader, who's the other driver? Frozen. Spreader's first, so let's go with Spreader. Some of these guys, because we know they'll be doing proper times. See, guys ahead pitting. So it might be what you might be seeing here. There's 4 drivers into the pits, so they may be ones that have decided to come out on the older set they've got that they've already used, get a time on the board as a sort of target, and now they're going to come in for that fresh set. They'll still maybe do a few laps rather than just the one. And Spreader heads to the line, looks good, 32.0, puts him into P3. And somebody jumps up then, I'm not sure who that was. Somebody jumps up. Frozen has just jumped up to P6. Really don't know who that was. Who was that? Jumped up pretty... Oh, Dre. 32.8. Must have, at the time, jumped up to 6th. Then Frozen went faster, so down to 7th now, Dre. But that's the first runs effectively done and over with. Nips a Spreader. He was ever so slightly down in the first set, so it looks like he might be having another little dig. Probably end up hitting the end of the lap. We can watch him through the second sector. If he's down in the second sector, he'll pit. As Ryan goes fastest, my apologies, should have gone back to him. 31.1. Much better second attempt from Ryan. I guess in real life, the reason you see in these conditions people qualifying, filling a tank or putting enough fuel in the tank to basically stay out for the whole of qualifying is because you never quite know exactly when the best conditions on track are going to be when it's still raining. It could be right at the start, it could be right at the end, it could be somewhere in the middle, I guess. So, Spreader out the final corner then, heads to the line, 31.5, improves by 4.5 tenths, and is P3 still. But that actually moved him up. He was P4. That's moved him up. And let's head down. Frozen not improving. Dre is into the pits. Who else is out there? Ryan's still out there, not improving this lap. So we've got a couple on an out lap now. It may be... Well, we'll have to see if Spreader and Ryan come into the pits, or whether they're going to keep driving around but just recharge the battery for a bit. So Ryan is coming to the pits, and I expect Spreader will do the same. He should get round there with plenty of time to pit and get out again. So, but we'll see. So at the moment, Ryan showing very good pace in these conditions. He's going to make it 3 sessions out of 3, being quickest. We'll see as Shrek then comes round. He's going to be next to go on to halt that. Let's look. Everybody's still on wets. Nobody in the pits has put inters on. Yeah, the rain still looks heavy. There's still plenty of puddle conditions. Just going through turn 1. The sky looks a lot brighter. No, it doesn't. just lost a bit of traction on the exit of the corner there. It's nicely done through the chicane. It's left, right. It isn't nothing corner. I've never enjoyed that part of the track before. Yellow flags around here. Whatever it is, they have cleared. It may have been a driver getting out of somebody else's way, so I don't think anything actually happened. So Shrek then, because I was looking down at that, I didn't actually see a split time, so I don't know if he is improving or not. He's still on 100% energy, so he's not doing a proper lap. Well, that was a spun car, wasn't it? That was a Red Bull around. So Shrek doesn't improve, but as you saw, he didn't use any energy. He is now. That Red Bull then, well, it wasn't Dre, which means it must have been Dark Mark. He's going to have to, because that surely is going to affect his time over the line to start his laps, so he's going to have to get a move on, I think, to be able to get another lap in. Kamarov has gone fastest on a 30.9. Ryan is on an outlap, isn't he? And I would guess Spreader. Yeah, Spreader's still out there and he's improving through sector 1. Sorry, we'll come back to Spreader because there is lots of other drivers, so driver crossing the line, don't think no improvement from Dre, that was. Davis coming into the final corner. Opens it up, heads to the line, and improvement here for sure. Moves up into P6 on a 31.749, just a hundredth of a second off of Aaron. And Shrek back round to the final corner again. He's improving as well. Going to move up to P5, just ahead of Spreader, who is on the grass. And nothing he can do to get round, so Spreader will not improve. He's P6 at the moment at best. Dre, though, has had a spin as well. So actually the only person that could change that for Spreader is Davis. As Ryan invalidates. Oh, after being so fast through sessions 1 and 2. He's retired on the track again. Stop doing that. You're going to get told off, you are. Aaron still out there. Shrek is still out there. Davis still out there as well. Davis, I think, is not improving. Shrek. Yeah, it doesn't look like anyone else is going to improve. Dre, we saw, had spun in a way, so we know he's not. Baron across the line, and very close, but 10th down. But P3 from Aaron, fantastic qualifying from Aaron. Well done, lad. Very well. But Cami, first time for a while, but it's pole position for the Kamarov, for the Sergeant. And 1:36.51 in the end, actually. He went faster. Apparently the AI just went faster than you after that Kamarov, actually, which there you go on the next lap. But no, Kamarov did go faster. Ryan, P2, unfortunate not to get that last lap in. Aaron, superb P3, well done, man. You'll be over the moon with that. I qualified last week as well, and raced well last week. You did very well last week, didn't you? So, Dark Mark in P4, Shrek 5, Spreader 6. So 6th, but actually to win the championship tonight, I believe he just needs to finish P7. I can maybe check if that's correct. That is what Grez has said earlier on. He just needs to score 6 points. So that would be P7. So actually he's doing what he's got to do. So Davis 7, then Frozen 8, Dre in 9, and I think it was Big D in P10. Let's just quickly go to the race director. Oh, look at that, just a 3 this time. There we go. There we have it. So a very, very wet qualifying comes to an end. Always interesting to see the wet qualifying because it can fit things on the red a little bit. The fastest guys in the dry aren't always necessarily the fastest in the wet. Or even if they are, it maybe sometimes closes the gap a little bit to them. Kamarov is one of the faster guys in all the conditions, clearly. He's done a fantastic job. Nice to see him on pole. And nice to see the sun for the race. So, guys, I know you watch regularly, so you will know full well there's a 5-minute break now for drivers and for myself. So, I'm going to take a quick break, refill my coffee again, and I'll be back for the race. So, I'll see you in a few minutes. See you in a bit. Right, I was back, everyone. Spreader usually says when we're gonna go at 32, so still another minute, just over a minute to go. Right then, well, regarding strategy around here, I'm not sure there's much to play with. I mean, obviously your options pretty much on a 50% race is whether you one stop or two stop. And there isn't going to be many tracks where a two stop on a 50% race than one stopping. So I very much expect to see, obviously it will be safety car dependent, but I would very much expect to see the whole field one stopping really, whether it's from medium to hard or hard to medium. That may depend a bit on where they're starting on the grid. but I don't know. I just don't think that two stopping around here is gonna gain you anything. So softs don't work very well in a way. So I think you wouldn't be able to make it a soft medium. I think you'd have to do a soft medium. So 2 sets of mediums. So hence why I don't really think it'll work. Sometimes, of course, it could be down to driving style. People who really attack the tyres and drain the life of the tyres may well be able to go quicker two-stopping, but than what they could one-stopping. But I think the vast majority of drivers are pretty good on their tyres these days. I don't think there's much difference really, ultimately. So I think the one-stop. Yeah, so the one-stop is going to be the clear one. Personally, I have to say I'd start on the mediums, simply because if a safety car comes out, I think you find that if it's reasonably early on, as long as it's not too early, you could probably put off the mediums to the hard and go to the end quite a long way. So I think that would be the preferred, but there will be people maybe starting a bit lower down the grid than they usually do, and it may opt to go for hards first, do the longer stint first, and attack in the final stint. So, green lights come on then for the formation lap. Let's get our details up. Get our tyres up then. Let's have a quick look. So, yeah, as you can see, I think the medium tyres are the preferred choice, but there are some hard tyres, hard starters. So Clem is one of them. So Clem and Big D were two of the drivers that I was thinking of might start on the hards, but Big D has gone for the mediums. Clem is going hards. Atkins, Rapid Pajala both starting hards as well. Robbo, Fatal Defiance both starting on the hards. Doherty on hards. Fatal Defiance regularly starts on hards actually. And, it seems to work for him. He always seems to move up through the grid. When he finishes a race, he usually moves forward. Oh, Shrek has left the session. There he is, Shrek. Where are you? There he is. Oh no, he's a PlayStation player. There's nothing I can do for him. I'm sorry, Shrek. There is absolutely nothing I can do for you. That we need. This is where Crossplay's let down, I'm afraid. In this game, if their lobbies were completely stable, it'd be alright. But EA's lobbies are anything but stable. So I'm sorry, Shrek, but there's absolutely nothing I can do to get you back in. Oh, apparently there's something you could do though. You've managed to get back in. That's fantastic news. So Shrek is back, as Goomba and Robbo get disqualified from the formation lap. So there's your predicted stop strategy. Either medium to hard, hard to medium, or potentially a medium. Well, nobody's starting on a soft, so nobody's going to do soft, medium, medium. It would be medium, medium, soft, or medium, soft, medium, potentially. So I think you only see that if they're safety cars. So As gets disqualified from the session for not parking in his grid slot properly. I don't think I'm going to get any good camera angles, guys, so I think we're going to have to go on board for the start of the race. So let's go on board. Dart Mark. So all the lights come on. Out they go. Mark gets a pretty good launch. I think that's Ryan. A little bit slow off the start, but wasn't too bad. Heading down into turn 1, it looks like Kamarov will retain the lead. All good here. I've everybody being a little bit tentative. Nobody being too silly as Shrek retires from the session. Can't see him go. He's on the pit straight, so I've absolutely no idea what's happened to him. We do have a full track yellow. He's on the pit straight. I've got no cars, obviously, I can go down to check what's happened to him. So this is a virtual safety car. Just get the position changes up. Who's had a good one? I see a lot of changes going on, but there must have been. So, biggest mover up 6 places is Taz. Oh, Cammy picks up a drive-through for speeding under the virtual safety car. Oh dear, dear, dear. All sorts of things going on here. Yellow flags. Alright. And that is a Ferrari. That's Gumba. He's been round. See, he's recovering. But Ryan is into the lead. Kamarov decides to take his drive-through straight away. I would say that's probably sensible. Likely to drop more places, but if there was to be a safety car, he's got it out of the way. So I think that's sensible. As Davis comes into the pits. Oh, hello. What's going on there? Here they are. Big D and Master Spread. Look at Big D. He's fighting it here for P3 with Spreader. And up into P3 goes. So a fantastic start for Big D. Up 7 places. Taz up 9 as well. Superb starts from those two. Kamarov down 16, but that's because of that drive-through penalty. Ultimately, at least he's been able to take it. He's still 17th, and he's only just over. Well, he's 4.5 seconds behind the back of the pack, so it's not the end of his race. He's still got plenty that he can do in this race. But say a long, long way to go. Plenty that can happen yet. And all these guys will know that as well. They're not everybody on tracks. Well, that I'm aware of. I think they're all experienced drivers now on the game. So I think Frozen had a little instant coming out the final corner, and he drops down in the end to P16. Let's go back up to Aaron. He's pretty close to the back of Taz. There's a few battles going on, a bit hard to know. There's that view that I was talking about where you get to see multiple cars coming through the chicane. Absolutely love it. It's one of my favourite camera angles. Particularly when someone hits the sausage curbs, goes bumpty bump. David said he just T-boned me off the line. I guess that's Shrek that he means. Oh dear. So he spun it off the line, I take it, and that's never good. That's obviously why you came into the pits. Here he is, Mr. Whale. Check out the second highest league view-wise on the channel. That is cheeky. Cheeky Mr. Whale. Anyway, this battle's fizzled out a little bit. Just looking down, we've lost Dark Lord, who I didn't even know was racing. He must have joined at some point. That's the other McLaren, so it's been a short-lived night for him. Now, is this I think it's virtual again, is it? Usually if you go on board with someone, you get to see. Yeah, I think that said VSC. Just on the left-hand side, it did indeed. So it is a virtual safety car again. I think we'll see Kamarov picking up drive-through this time. And, there's 2 drive-throughs though. Clem and Atkins both pick up drive-throughs. Oh. Oh my goodness, riding in P7 and P8, and they both pick up drive-throughs. If you're behind them on track, that's an absolute gift. I'd be thanking your lucky stars for it, but Davis will be thinking, oh, why couldn't that have been a full safety car? We need a full safety car. That's what he'd be thinking. Sooner the better. Well, Atkins in to take his drive through. We'll see which works out better then, because Clem stayed out. And he is coming under a bit of attack from Dre. And you have to say that Clem did seem to turn in on him then. Spun Dre round. It's no harm done in the sense of damage, I don't think. So both drivers can continue on. But remember, when I sort of shout those sorts of things out, I don't mean anything by it. It's just what seems to happen when I first see it. Obviously, I don't have the benefit of replays like I do in real life, so bear that in mind. So then, Aaron's still on the back of Taz. Let's do a bit of on board. Who's Rax? It's Rax Orion. I don't know what else to tell you on that one, Ambo. It's Rax Orion. I don't know the lad. He drove last week and was good last week, but didn't have a good race, I don't believe. And then dominated qualifying here until Q3. He finished P2 in Q3, but was fastest in Q1 and Q2. Kamarov took pole. Fortunately picks up a drive-through penalty. Continuing on with this. I think like you, Hambo, I think he might end up in trouble a lot like you. Ryan. Oh my goodness, they're going to go side by side. Oh, I don't think I'd fancy putting my front wing in there too much. But Aaron did, and Taz left the room and allowed him to do it. And that's good racing. Well done, lads. And it's not quite over yet. Taz seems to get through the chicane a bit better than Aaron, but yeah, I don't think I'd have been leaving my front wing in there, quite frankly. It's, say Aaron did, and it's gained him a position in the long run. Just saying, when you do that, you're relying on the other driver. Turn in, you've had it, and so then we got a little bit of a train going on here. We got this is actually going from Pajala in P11 as Dre gets ahead of Clem. Okay, so Clem is in to take his drive-through penalty. So if you remember, he and Atkins picked one up at the same time. So Atkins pitted straight away, and it looks like that's going to work out for Atkins, who does get ahead of Clem. So Atkins, by pitting immediately after picking it up, actually gains the place over Clem. Works out, well, I can't say it works out well, ultimately it's a drive-through, but you know what I mean. So, yeah, sorry, this train anyway is going from P10 Pajala down to P14 Robbo. Atkins is only 2.8 behind it as well, as most importantly as well, Kamarov is in the middle of this train as well, trying desperately to get his way through. We would see eventually. I think Kamarov has too much trouble trying to get through this traffic, which could happen around here. It's not an easy place to overtake at all, so he could get a bit stuck here. And ultimately, this is the best opportunity you get, and the car ahead's getting DRS as well. It's nigh on impossible. We had a good view of that one. That was Frozen getting past Audi Cat, and it looks like Kamarov is going to follow through as well. See, one of the rare occasions it's good to follow through. And oh, that was Frozen. Oh, trying too hard to get going quickly then, and ended up spinning again. But oh, well, that made things a bit easier for Kamarov. Things just part and move out your way. That'll make it easier. And we think that Jala will be in trouble when they next reach home straight, I think. Remember, Jala started on the hards. The guys that started on hards, he's actually second out of those guys. Oh! What is happening? Is Kamarov doing something? Is he, like, throwing bananas in front of him or something like that? He is, isn't he? He's throwing bananas in front of the cars ahead so they spin. I think that's disgusting behaviour to Sergeant Kamarov. Must have stopped that immediately. Anyway, sorry, I need to go back up the top a little bit. Big D got a little mini train going on here as Atkins, Pajala, Frozen, all the ones that spun into the pits. So, and the guys that did start on hards, by the way, it's Face of Defiance who's running highest in the order, currently in P8, which bodes well for him. So, here then, Dark Mark currently running in P2, Big D P3, Master Spread P4. I was in a similar position to Master Spread myself recently. In Arc Tier 2, I went into the final race of the season where, well, I basically just had to finish the race to win the championship, and in the whole of the lead up to the race, for the whole of the previous week, I think I'm just going to drive around at the back. I'm not going to challenge anything, I'm just going to drive around at the back, finish, because every position scores points in that league. And I thought I'd just do that. As soon as we got to qualifying, I was like, nah, I can't do that. I can't do that. That's not the way you race, so I challenged instead and ended up finishing second. In the race, that is not the championship. I won a championship. But Spreader today, of course, just needs to... Well, there's plenty of races left for him to finish the championship in a way, but today, if he picks up 6 points, so P7 or higher, will give him a championship today. Dark Mark's just getting away a little bit here. 10 seconds for Frozen. What on earth's happening? Charlie. He's going off track to let people through. I think he might be heading into the pits for retirement. After getting that 10 seconds, it does annoy you when you get that. Also, you don't need to be going off track to let people through, of course. But yeah, into the pits. Look, I had a funny feeling that was going to come. So that will come up in just a second. Back to these guys though, because Big D has caught back on to the back of Dark Mark. And attentions will start turning now to pit stops when they can stop. Pretty sure Spreader will be thinking about a possible undercut on these two. You know, whether which one he thinks would be better, really. No, Frozen just left the session, but he hasn't retired the car. Don't leave the car coming back on the circuit. Unless he was just kicked, of course, and I've invited him back. Sorry, let's look at the comments, not keeping an eye. Right then, so... Well, says, didn't he beat me last week? Adrian never got me in trouble, just my use of words. Yeah. That is true, actually. Cracking move that AI. What do you mean AI? Who's in AI? No one's in AI. It's like Mario Kart, just sent a missile on Pajala. Red Chow! Oh, Aaron picks up a 3 seconds. Dodi Kaka makes up a place there, getting past Operator. And it looks like Robbo's having a little look as well. Meanwhile, Cammy's made his way all the way back out to P8 now. He's just gotten ahead of Fatal Defiance. And he's now got 8 seconds to make up to the next car, which is Dre. Maybe a bit more difficult to make the time on the same tyres. These 3. So we've still got a few battles going on here. So what about you guys watching? If you're in Spreader's situation here, I know he doesn't need to... If he wants to win a title today, he just needs to finish 7th for Ire, but completely ignore that. If this was just another race, which it is really. If you're in this situation now, so you're on the back of Big D, you're on the back of Big Dark Mark, they're actually slightly catching Ryan at the moment. Would you look to undercut to jump these two, or would you look to overcut? It's a bit early on the stops yet. I think lap 15. If you're looking at anything like 15 laps on mediums, 20 on hards, it could be 16 and 19, etc., etc. It's I just think with Spreader's pace, he might have been better off. Might be better off trying to undercut by pitting a couple of laps early for the hard tyres. But having said that, where would he come out? That's the other side of it. It's not the fastest pit stop around here, is it? So it's a good little battle here, but let's go back up because we've got the extra car involved in this one. So, as I say, they're just gradually catching Ryan as well. Now, that might be Ryan just managing the gap, of course, but typically, of course, it just moved and then Robbo Robbo overtook Operator, so we missed the overtaking again. Of course, I think if you're... Oh, Dark Mark's acting first. Okay, so Dark Mark is going to act first. Oh, I don't know if that's the right thing for him to do. That's a gamble. That is a big gamble. He's put in early. He's put on the hard tyres, so he's looking to undercut. And that, for me, is a big gamble from Dark Mark. That is early, so I'm pretty sure the game puts it at 16 laps and 19 laps. Although I think if you move it down to 15 on the mediums and 20 on the hards, I think it's like thousandths of a second quicker than the other way around. But it's done two things. So obviously it's released these guys as they come through the chicane. Sector 1 yellow flag. Was a Red Bull. That was Dark Mark, I think. It's in P9. Well, the yellow flag was down where Dark Mark was, so I think he's maybe had a mini spin or something. There was two cars there. He was there and another car was there, though, so I'm not 100% sure which one it was. As Ryan is into the pits from the lead. So again, see now, this is personally for me, if I was in either Dark Mark's or Ryan's position, I'd have been staying out. Well, Ryan's pitted to softs, so well, he's two-stopping then. I'm not really. I'm not going to lie. I don't understand that. I don't understand why you do that at all. Big D also pitted there, by the way. Aaron as well. So Spreader goes through into the lead. Taz takes P2. Dre into 3. Ryan exited in P4. Big D is alongside Kamarov on exit. Oh, there's a bit of contact. Fair, Kamarov didn't look to have too much room on the inside there, but obviously he was thinking to himself, well, he's just come out the pits, he's going to be out, he's on cold hard tyres, I want to get by, I don't want to get held up while he's heating them up, so got himself through. But as you can see, yeah, so it looks like Dark Mark was the one that had some sort of little spin coming out the pits into turn 3, I believe it was, so he's down in P9, so Big D a long way, well, not just Big D, Aaron's gotten out ahead of him as well, so that's a position gain for Aaron there as Spreader reacts then, so he's essentially trying to overcut Big D here. So remember, we saw Big D have a little touch with Cammy, and that could have helped smash the spread a little bit. And Big D is coming on to the straight. So we knew Ryan was going to go through. That was an absolute given. And it looks like Spreader's got the overcut. So of course, Spreader's got to get those tyres up to temperature. The gap's under a second, so he is going to come under a bit of attack here from Big D. He will want his place back. So it'll probably take Spreader a good 3/4 of a lap to a lap to get these hards into a proper workable temperature. So this is a problem, and you've seen this through the years in real life and at the Hungaroring. There really isn't much scope for overtaking around here. It pretty much is the pit straight, and then there is sometimes the opportunity down into turn 3 as well, but the DRS straight coming out of turn 1 is so small. I do see a few overtakes through there, but much more into turn 1 than anywhere else. Pretty much the rest of the track is normally down to mistakes. And now Spreader's tyres should be working okay now. They're probably not optimum yet, but they're probably working well enough now. So now could he take the championship in style today with Ryan having pitted to softs? They will not last long. Those softs will die so fast. I'm really surprised he did that. The option was there, of course, with the quality being wet all the way through. Everybody had their full load of tyres available to them, so the option was there to do it. I wonder if to be quite honest, I do wonder if Ryan's opted to do that simply to make it a bit more fun than just driving out on his own to win the race. But driving in a new league, just a second week, I think I'd be more interested in trying to make sure I get the victory, to be honest. And obviously he's extended the gap on those softs pretty nicely already, but like I said, they won't last long, so might have a 2 or 3 more laps of particularly nice running, but then they will really come down pretty quickly. And the problem you have is that he will definitely drop below Spreader and Big D, and possibly even a bit further than that. And these guys aren't going to make it easy to get through around here, so can easily have Spreader and Big D fighting to the end here for victory. Just looking down the order to see if there's any other battles. Didn't quite see it early enough, but Dre gets past Taz, and that's for P10. Both got penalties. And is Fatal. He's in P6. He's done 18 laps on his hards. Dawdy in 7th as well has done the same. And Robbo in P8, actually, funny enough. 3 of the hard starters all running together. They are going to drop down pretty severely when they pit, though, but there are some others that will have to pit below them as well, so it's not too bad. So anyway, Dre has made that move stick, so let's go to Cammy, who is on mediums for his second stint. Hang on, didn't he start the race on mediums? He didn't actually pit earlier on, he had a drive-through, so he's gone mediums. So surely Cammy has to pit again. He must do. Makes the move there on Robbo and up into P8. Have you fixed the interviews? No, I haven't, mate. So, unfortunately, guys, yeah, just to mention, I have told the drivers in the Discord, but yeah, no, there won't be any driver interviews at the end of this race. It looks like Spreader may well claim the championship tonight. Is a bit of a shame, but I'll have to interview him next week instead. Cammy all over the back of Dawdy, and obviously Cammy wants to get past, but you know, ultimately if you stick the car out the inside somewhere where you shouldn't, and the other driver turns in on you, it's kind of like it's your own fault, isn't it, if you do that. Dawdy is into the pits in a way, so Cammy will get DRS down the straight. It looks like Fatal was in as well, so that's somebody else out of the way, and Cammy then we'll continue on. I'm just going to do race director check, but I'm sure he has. Oh. Sergeant camera off. He has. Medium. So there we go. So Cammy does indeed have to pit again. So on that bombshell, I'm pretty sure you would think 6th is probably the best Cammy could do today. And to be fair, if he knew that was potentially actually a very good move. Well, I don't think it would have made much difference, to be honest, but yeah. In a way, in our battle for the win, Ryan is already dropping time to Spreader, so he's lost about 7 attempts. I don't know who Rex Revokes is, but too late for this one, pal. So he's just got a couple of attempts back. So yeah, he's lost, since we last looked, he's lost about half a second. There's Ryan, and realisation probably kick in now that he's probably thrown this race away by pitting to the wrong tyres. Into the pits then is Robbo and Clem, and we'll just go down to that because let's have a look then. Robbo is looking maybe to get some sort of jump. No, I was going to say on Fatal and Dawdy, but Fatal's already through. Robbo's on the exit, whereas Dawdy is pretty close actually on the exit. Where are they? It seems to take an age for him to come round there then. I thought somebody had dropped it or something. They're okay, so Robbo unfortunately doesn't get the jump on him, but will be going to the end on his tyres, and he's out in P12, so that is not bad. Atkins will have to pit, so that's definitely another place. That would be another place that he would gain. Although actually he might not come out that far behind him, in all fairness, but anyway, let's not worry about that. I'm looking for a battle, but actually we don't have any right now. Gumba and Pajala, maybe a little bit of battle going down at the back. So just bear in mind, guys, that the points rules on PRF1 this season is that the top 15 score points, and I think Clem, who's just dropped the 15th, has had a spin. He has indeed. And so Pajala and Gumba are that much closer to him. And Clem is on fresh medium tyres as well. Might not have done them any favours. And it looks like he's into the pits. So in comes Clem. So actually Pajala will go up into 15th, meaning Pajala and Gumba are fighting for that last point. So, I don't see any obvious damage on his car, but anyway, into the pits comes the leader then, who was starting to hemorrhage time to Spreader. And, well, quite frankly, it's going to take a miracle. He goes to medium tyres, and it's going to take a miracle for him to catch that back up, I think. Ultimately, I think he's, you know, don't want to sound too harsh on the lad, but I think he's thrown away victory here. He's going to come out just ahead of Cammy. But of course he's going to have to heat his tyres up. So where is Cammy? How close? He's within a second, I think. So might get a chance to get ahead of Ryan and then make Ryan's life a bit difficult. Stick with it. See, the mediums will heat up a bit quicker than the hards. A bit earlier in the lap. They're in that sort of workable gap, but yeah, but ultimately I think because Cameral's mediums are 7 laps old, which is effectively halfway through a medium stint, I don't think he's really going to be able to challenge Ryan there, even while his tyres are a bit colder. So yeah, I think Ryan's going to consolidate that, and then he will, once he has got him up to temperature, he will start eating into Dartmark's lead over him, which is 3.5 seconds. I imagine that will come down reasonably quickly. But the fact that Aaron's got a penalty, I think potentially that Ryan could still get on the podium here. But I don't want to look at those penalties just yet. I know a few more have come up since the last time I looked. But look at them a bit later. I was looking at this because I could see the 2 cars, but sorry, that car behind is actually lapped, so it's not actually a battle. Truth be told, I think the next battle is likely to come from Ryan when he catches Dartmark. Into the pits is Davis. Operator goes through into P13. I think Gumba will go through, and Pajala, so Davis is going to have to chase these guys for the back end of the points. He's going to come out on soft tyres. It's still a bit... well, I mean, that's still quite a long way from to go on soft tyres, actually. Davis, I think, may regret that switch. I think he should have gone to mediums if he had them. What's it saying? Well, could actually still be 11 laps that Davis has got to do, depending on whether he ends up a lap down or not. But even if it was 10, that's at least 2 laps too long. Sorry, my apologies. Let's go down to Dawdy, who is in a freeway now with Atkins and Robbo. Although Atkins has taken to the pit lane, so we did actually know he was going to have to pit. So Dawdy up to P10, Robbo into 11th. And these two could well be battling through to the end. And that's... oh! Ryan's round! He's lost his wing as well. So I don't know if that happened in a battle with Kamarov or whether it was... in his attempts of catching up, but ultimately he's lost his wing. He's going to need to pit. So any chance of getting back to that podium is gone, and it's brought out a full safety car actually. So everybody's going to pit. I can't believe that's brought out a full safety car. That's ridiculous. We've had retirements and they haven't brought out safety cars. And a tiny bit of debris goes on. A front wing lands on the track. And that's it, guys. We've all got to come in. That's it, safety car. What is going on there? It's a ridiculous call. The irony that Ryan was probably the only driver that was on tyres that he may have stayed out. So, I feel sorry here for Aaron, actually. This is going to hurt Aaron, who's on that penalty. So, it's 6 seconds as well. That is harsh on Aaron. That is. That is genuinely one of the most ridiculous safety cars I've ever seen. The front two, by the way, have gone to mediums. Aaron and Dartmart, well, the next 4 drivers, so Aaron, Dartmart, Cammy, and Ryan have gone to softs. Doherty and Robbo stayed on their mediums, actually, so they opted to stay out. So that could be interesting. But it has gained them some places, to be fair. They were running in 10 and 11, weren't they? So we have moved up the order because of that. I think that's probably worth a shout from them, to be fair. Why not? Give it a go. Got to be in it to win it and all that. But it certainly helps some. I don't think anybody was a lap down, so anybody that was still running, I mean, I don't think any of these guys are going to lap down. In fact, no, they're nowhere near a lap down, so everybody, all 17 runners, will catch back onto the leaders. And so I am just taking a look at the penalties and just wonder if anybody could benefit from taking a pit stop. And I think, quite frankly, I think operator has to pit and get rid of 5 seconds. He's got 14 seconds currently. So I think ultimately he needs to get rid of 5 seconds off of that. And even then, it's still going to be very difficult for him to do anything but finish last unless there's any spinners, to be quite honest. So the onus will be on Goomba, really, to catch this back up. Safety car will stay out for quite a while yet, so I don't think there's going to be any issues with drivers catching. And into the pits comes operator. Slowed down quite enough to make sure he didn't pick up 5 seconds going in to get rid of his 5 seconds. So, see him stop there with no work going on the car. And a fresh set of softs will go on. And the penalty reduces from 14 seconds to 9 seconds. But yeah, I think operator's done the right thing now. I don't think ultimately it's difficult either way, isn't it? Even having got rid of the pen, it's still going to be difficult for him to score points today now, to be honest. But it does depend on the restart. You never know quite what's going to happen. As Goomba Nier is catching the back of the pack now. There he is. Slow down! Come on, Big D. Rambo supporting the Big D. You got a smart against spreader, aren't you? That's the 3 seconds for operator. Sorry, 9 seconds for operator now. Just so you know, he can't get rid of any more of that, can he? So he'll just be driving around onto the back. Looks like Davis is into the pits. And he's going to stick some softs on, I think. Yeah, so I think he's just taking advantage, I think, of the fact that he could pit and still get out ahead of operator. So he's stuck some fresh softs on. May aid him in picking up a few points tonight. So maybe very much worthwhile. So I think we're getting ready to be going at the end of this lap. So spreader will take us away. Big D in P2. Aaron, who I think is probably the one I feel for most under this safety car. It's likely to hurt him. There's going to be some laps, so we are going to have 6 laps through gaps to appear. But the likes of Dartmart, Cammy, Ryan, Dodie and Robbo on the back of him penalty free, it's going to be hard for him to create those gaps, to be fair. So good luck to him. So the confirmation came up there. The safety car will be in the end of this lap, so I think I will keep the penalties, I think, up on there so you can see them to the end now. I know everybody's going to the end on their tyres, so on board here with Aaron as we get going once more. See it pretty clearly. Nobody really, well, nobody at the top getting any sort of run on the car ahead. I'm just looking down the timings. I can't see, it doesn't look like anybody's getting a run on cars further down. Operator gets ahead of Davis. Davis looks to switch back actually. Oh, got 3 side by side. Bajala's involved here as well. Who's going to come out on top here? Oh, goodness me, that's Atkins. Must have been the yellow flag there. Everybody managed to avoid him, so well done, guys. And eventually they come out with Davidson 14, Atkins 15, Pajala 16 and Operator 17. And if we move further up, that was Dre. It's just gotten past Robbo. That's just ahead of the chicane, I believe, so I think a short run from the previous court, turn 6 to the chicane. Just going to move up to Cammy's. Gotten very, very close to the back of Dartmark here. And, oh yeah, I'm not sure what's happened to Ryan actually. Ryan's dropped down since the restart. He's actually now just in front of his teammate Gumba, and they're running in P11 and P12, the 2 Ferraris. The irony though that this has all been caused by Ryan, who switched to the soft tyres, and then having pitted to mediums has had a moment, whereas if he'd have just pitted to the hards on his first stop, none of this probably would have happened, and he probably would have brought the car home to win the race. So maybe questioning strategy in a Ferrari garage. Mind you, yeah, not that surprising this season to see Ferrari getting the strategy wrong, is there? Proper Ferrari strategy. But the good news for Aaron is that Dodi Kaka's really fallen off the back of Cammy. Good 5 seconds already, so the damage limitation, if you like, is happening for Aaron. As Kamarov gets his wing alongside the Red Bull. He's not 100% alongside, but he's somehow managed to get the inside of that corner. Is he going to hold this? It's going to be a bit of a drag race going on down the home straight. Nobody's got DRS. This DRS is just enabled, so nobody's got it. It's going to be a drag race down to turn 1. Dartmark still on the inside, but that will mean that Cammy's going to have the inside for a turn 3. But he's actually got the move done going into turn 3. I'm not sure who the yellow flag was for, although if I was to take a gamble, I'd say it was Dre because he's dropped down to P17. But a nice bit of racing there between Cammy and Dartmart. And Cammy back up into P4 in what's been a really good recovery drive, to be fair to Cammy. It looks like he's going to, well, actually, I'm just not going to say it, actually. I'm fed up with cursing people in commentary. So I'm just not going to say it. Just not going to say it. Davis drops down to P16. He's had a moment of some sort. So Stray catches up to the back of him. He gets out of the way for him. Well, that does mean the operator is into P15 in the final point slot. Obviously, penalties could still play a difference. Play a part, sorry. But as it stands right now, he would pick up that final point. Whereas if he hadn't got rid of the 5 seconds, he wouldn't be. So, potential there that could have made all the difference for him. That yellow flag is Davis down at the back. He may have got some damage of whatever happened to him previously. And Aaron, since this restart, has kept with the top two. Stay within their DRS. Fair play to him. I tell you what, this boy looks like he's been putting the practice in, doesn't he, Aaron? He qualified up there as well, mind. So if I go to position changes, he's actually where he qualified. He qualified P3, did Aaron? As Davis retires out in the pits. So I think there's some damage to that car, to be honest. But yeah, fair play to young Aaron. Definitely, certainly looks like he's been putting the practice in. Fair play to him. Gumba and Atkins are battling away currently for P12. It's a lovely view. Thanks for that one. We can see all the green trees and the shrubbery and all that. Atkins has come out on top of that battle, but Gumba, I think, has got DRS. Don't think he's going to get alongside, is he? Thought about it. Oh, Gumba! I thought you were spinning then. Oh, we've got to retire. Oh, not a late retirement. Taz. Can't see him. Oh, he's just there. That's a bit odd. That's a bit of an odd one. Well, that retirement means that we're down to 15 drivers, so everybody scores points, guys. Well done. Oh, Tazzy boy, what you done? Last lap. Well, not last lap. Not one like that. So, sorry, I'll just get it back. I think driver of the day purposes, guys, there's multiple choices. You've got Spreaders about to win the race. Well, actually, sorry, I shouldn't say that. They're still fighting, very much fighting. But it's looking like Spreader's going to win the race to take the championship. However, Big D's in P2, up 8 places. Jordan Kaka's just dropped a place to Ryan, who somehow has just gotten himself back up to P6. Oh no, fatal. Just went out of turn 1, he's recovered it, he's still in the points. Well, everybody's in the points, as I said, so. But Dawdy's up 12 places, so he's got to be in with a shout as well. 8 places for Robbo. These guys have... Oh, and that's a spinner. That's Clem. Clem on the final lap. He's caught the curb of death. And off comes his wheel. Everybody below moves up another place. And we will move up to who is going to be not just our race winner, but our championship winner as well. A Spreader comes across the line to win in Hungary and take the Drivers' Championship. Congratulations, my man. Massive shout to Big D, who I think I am going to give my driver of the day today. So well done, Big D. Kamarov, an absolute immense recovery drive from him after the drive-through penalty earlier on. So, I mean, he would have had to have been in with a shout at driver of the day as well, but ultimately shouldn't pick up a drive-through, should you? So, you know, but no, great recovery drive there, Cammy. And he will take the podium. I think it was Dark marking 4th. Genga's driver of the day to Dawdy, but that's because it always gives it to the driver who's made up the most places. Right, onto the podium. Just a reminder, unfortunately I can't do any driver interviews tonight. I do apologise about that, particularly when it's to crown a champion, but obviously it'll have to wait till next week. But obviously a huge congratulations to Spreader, who's dominated the Drivers' Championship throughout. The Constructors, by the way, very much still in the running. That is certainly not over. So Spreader's teammate retiring early on in this race, it's meant that they've still gained a few points with McLaren. It's still very much on the table, the Constructors. So I look forward to that. But huge congratulations to Spreader, obviously, for the drivers and for the race win as well. So Big D P2, Kamarov P3. Yeah, Don't Mark was P4. That's what I thought. Aaron P5 in the end. It's a superb result. Fair play, Aaron. So he'd have certainly been on for driver of the day as well. So well done, man. Atkins P6, Ryan P7. From me, threw away the race win by using the wrong strategy, but hey ho. Doherty P8. So I'm just going to scroll through these so they're there for the standings, guys. I need to get the race director in as well, for instance. So I'm not going to get to the bottom of this, guys, but get as many as I can in. There we go. Ultimately then, guys, again, apologies I can't do driver interviews, but just to summarise the race a little bit, it was a fantastic start, and plenty of battles going on throughout the race. Early parts of the race, Ryan was dominating, took out a nice lead. Then the guys behind just started to edge back towards him, and then Ryan surprised everybody when he pitted to soft tyres instead of hards, meaning that he would definitely have to pit again, and that did not pay off. He got the gap to almost 7 seconds, but the softs began to die very, very quickly. After then pitting to mediums to get himself to the end, he had a spin which caused a safety car. He lost his front wing, caused a safety car, and that's changed the race all about. But ultimately, in the end, Spreader came through. Again, just somebody within his 1 second with the RS continuously. But Spreader shows superb defensive skills again, to be honest with you, around here. And takes the victory from Big D in a brilliant P2. Driver of the day for Big D as well. Cammy on the other podium. So well done, guys. Superb races from you three. Shout outs also for Aaron, Doherty Cat, who were superb as well. There were other great drivers out there, but they were the other two standout ones for me. So fantastic drive. Other than that, guys, that is obviously the end of Hungary this week. I'll just have a quick gander at where we are next week. So PRF1, we are at. I usually just ask Spreader, you see. And he goes, "Oh, I don't know." And we ask somebody else instead. Ah, brilliant. We're at Spa next week. So I'll tell you what, we got some cracking tracks to finish the season off with. Spa next week, Silverstone the week after, Canada the week after that, Brazil and Abu Dhabi. What a great run in tracks wise. So I look forward to all of those, to be quite honest. But I mostly look forward to next week when I can do some driver interviews again. And anyway, as always, guys, a huge thank you to everyone that's watched live with me and kept me entertained. Hambo, well, among others. So thank you, guys. Master's mum, well done, Spread. Says Master's mum, so I'm guessing that's Spreader's mum. Hi, mum. Well done to your lad, brilliant. Track limits on last lap has absolutely cost me, says Doherty. You still had a great race though, Doherty. So well done, mate. Anyway, guys, as I said, thank you to everybody that's watched live and kept me company. Thanks also to everybody that watched the stream back. I really appreciate it. So and so does PRF1. So thank you very much. We'll be back then, same time next week for Belgium, Spa-Francorchamps through the Ardennes Forest, and which is, in my opinion, the greatest track of all time. So I look forward to that one, and I'll see you then. Good night, God bless, enjoy your weekends.